In a few minutes, and I want to show you a little trick here. I often take a screwdriver, a special screwdriver. I have my own special tools, so I just painted them all red so they don't get mixed up with the other ones. And I just leave a little crack because if you shut it down, it starves for air. So it's just starting up now. It's just starting to get hot and catching on its own, so I'm going to give it a little more fuel. I'm going to come up to my drip valve and open it up a little bit. Now in the initial startup, I just open it up all the way. It takes a little bit of time for it to run down the line and such, so you just open it up all the way. Make sure your locking mechanism is in the lock position. I have two air holes in mine. I have the initial one here and at the lock position, but the side one gets blocked when you turn it. So now I'll be getting new fuel there in just a minute. And the magic heat will kick on all by itself. I believe once the flue gases get to, I think it's around 100-ish. Anyway, get back to you when the thing turns on. I'll show you some of the clean out tools I have here. I guess I showed you before. I got my little screwdriver. I got a pair of pliers. I have the gauging tool. A lot of people have these. Like I showed you before, I painted all mine red. You stick it in the hole and you come out. It tells you how much oil is in the system, which is important because you don't want a lot of oil at the bottom. It's supposed to be burning it pretty efficiently as soon as it drops in. I also wanted to show you a clean out tool with the stainless steel cylinder I have hooked up on here. There's a lot of carbon that builds up in this tube, and you have to get something in there. I've tried a screwdriver before, but it's the distance of the pot, like the height of the pot, restricts the type of screwdriver you're using. You always get it at an angle because of the base plate, and you get your hand real dirty. So I made one of these. It's just a simple piece of angle. I mean, that's bed frame right there. Took off the edges, made a little 90, and I cut it the distance with the exact height of the stainless. It goes about maybe a 1/4 inch past it, and it allows me to get inside at the burn after it's been burning, and I just simply turn it like this and takes out all the carbon. Everything falls down, keeps the air holes nice and clean. So I thought that was a little bonus, you know. Next tool I'm going to make is a clean out tool for the bottom of the pot. Probably use another piece of bed frame, flatten it out, make a nice little handle for it, and that way I can simply, you know, scrape out the bottom of this a little more efficiently than using a screwdriver or something that has a small flat face on it. Get something a little larger, something more efficient. So I just want to let you know on some of the tools here that I've made, like this one, and we'll get back to you in a minute. It is just turned on. The gauge is at 2100. I know the flue gases differ from the actual temperature of the unit, but I know that approximately at this point in the firing, the magic heat turns on all by itself. And I took the screwdriver out. Now I can put it back in. I just want you to hear the difference, if you can. A major difference. And it helps in the initial startup, of course, to get more air. I mean, more fuel, more air, you know. But maybe experimenting with the actual size of the holes. I'll be trying that out very soon. So now that it's running, you know, unit's burning, I'm going to tighten it up just until she gets snug. And it's right about there. You can no longer pull it out. It's in there pretty tight. It's against the keeper here, as you can see. It's against it. So it's tight all the way in and around. There's very little space there on the side. Right now you got some of this excess oil bleeding off. Let me see if I can. That was from when I was farting around with it there. I was trying to get pouring it in. I told you there might be a little spillage because I had one hand on the camera. So that's basically it. It's right now it's being drafted up. This is the air being sucking in. can see it going up in here. A few minutes, that'll be all gone. Okay, so we're going to shut it down again, get it real hot, give you a total temperature reading. See, there you go, it's about 150, it's getting close to 2. Here's the flue gas. That's it right there. And I mean, there's nothing coming out of there. It's just heat vapors. Obviously the eye is much better than the quality of the camera. But I can tell you there's just heat vapors running out of there. There's no smoke. I mean, there's no smoke at all. And there's no smell out here. Here we go. So we're looking at the gauge now. Almost 450, and this is about as hot as I'm getting it with the 10W30. I'll try to show you a close up of the oil. It's hard to see. There it is. So it is dripping, but it just doesn't want to burn too hot. I think it's this type of oil. Like I told you before, the diesel oil I was using, man, I would bury the needle on this thing. I would get it up to, wow, I got it past 750. I got it close to 800 degrees. And it started peeling the heat paint off of this. This is all high temperature, flame-proof paint I bought. It's supposed to be for, you know, headers and stuff. And it just started peeling off the sides, and it stunk to high heaven. So that's why I told you before I was mixing it about 80-20, 80 diesel oil and 20% of the old 10W30. So I'm just trying to burn this off because I'm going to start to pump it. I'm going to pump some more oil up right now. Give you a quick little view of that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my valve is open. And we know that everything's hooked up with it. I can see the gauge, right? So I know where that is. So I back that off. And I took the tie straps off initially so I can show you the inside of the gauge. So it might be a little tricky trying to pump it. I'm going to put the tie straps back on again. But it might be a little tough with one hand without the tie straps. So right now, the oil is being pumped up. There she goes. And then I can watch this gauge as it goes down on how much oil is pumping up. And then I can just simply look up here. It's got more oil in it. And I told you I want to burn all of it. I want to put in the new 80-20. I'm going to test out that burns, and I'm going to adjust the mix. I marked them all. Maybe I go 70-30 or maybe even a 50-50 mix. I'm unaware of the right mix. I have to obviously experiment. And that concludes the video. Just want to show everybody the overall doings and how everything's done here. I think it's a nice setup. I've seen some pretty dangerous setups where guys had, buckets up here, and it was about, hanging over halfway. I'm sure. So if you're, familiar with the oil burners and you looked at some videos, you'd probably seen that one, and that was extremely dangerous. That just, roll over and you got a serious fire. And if you're also thinking about fires, I have a fire extinguisher. In fact, I have 3 of them. They're right around the corner out of view here. So they're always handy and close by. I just want to show you all the, safety precautions you take. You got to make sure all your fittings are, as you can see here, you put the Teflon tape, you tighten them up, you double, triple check any oil, just to make absolutely certain every connection. You do not want, obviously, your house burning down. You don't want any fires blowing out anywhere. You got to make sure all your connections are solid and tested, as we did all the way up here. I chose to put 45s on the flue because 90s restrict airflow. Every time you break into 90, you're stopping that streamlined gas as the gas wants to escape upwards. So putting 45 also allows it to go quicker and faster. And you just take every precaution, anything you can think of to be a little safer. Even hanging up the oil, like this with a small little brass hook, just so it doesn't bounce around. You get a lot of heat, it gets hot, it starts bouncing or moving for some reason, you bump it, and the soft metal breaks, as it's copper. Then you got hot oil dripping down top of this you know, 450 degree oven, and there goes everything you ever owned, you know. So keep safety in mind when you're doing these. Think it through. Don't race. Be patient and play safe.